Hello everybody, we're out here today finishing up this retaining wall. Took me and Xavier 2 days to build it, but it looks okay. And if you notice, when you build something out of railroad ties, they're not the same. This railroad tie is much smaller than most of the others. See, you got a big gap here, and it's lined up on the back side and the bottom. You can see how much difference that is, and that was the very last one we put in. I should have used that one down there. That way it would be even all the way across the top. But you can see we used 1/2-inch rebar, 1/2-inch drill bit, 16 inches long of rebar down. And you know what? I just piled dirt up on the backside. Now, I know, this is not how you're supposed to build a retaining wall. You're supposed to have dead men going back or whatever, to support it. Probably on this 4th row would have been good for them. But I figured, well, I've got these posts on the front, and they're buried 3 or 4 foot deep. And you can see I stood them up to where the long side is vertical, so I don't have to use as many posts. And I've got 15, or as many railroad ties. I got 15 in here. Bought a pack of 16 of them. Used to, back in 2011 when I built my first little shed, you could get a railroad permit. Norfolk Southern give you a permit. You can see it sideways there. But anyway, Norfolk Southern give you a permit, and you could go take used ties off the railroad, but they stopped doing that. And so now I'm buying these things. Bought them at $20 a piece at Rural King. So yeah, this retaining wall plus my rebar, and my retaining wall ended up being about $400 for this thing. But my thought process, okay, so if you look, we got our gate down here. Now off the corner of this shed, I'm gonna build me a fence. Go meet up with that fence. Build me a fence off that corner, meet up with that fence. And then this will become a little yard, and I've got my power pole right there already. So I got my power pole here. I can come in, you can tell I brought the 3500 back in here. And so I got it back in here, had it loaded up. Having a flatbed is very useful on the farm. But anyway, backed it up in here. I can build me a little loading corral and shoot off this side and all this stuff, and I can keep them out. But my problem is I got to keep this gate open, get that gate open, get all these goats out of the way. So I need to build me a fence on each side to build me a little area here so I can open this gate and not have to worry about a bunch of goats coming out and a dog coming out. You can tell I just have a ladder going up, going to my hay. I've got a little square there where I could drop hay down, which eventually I'll build a ladder up there. Maybe. Or I might just leave it as a drop down. But I built it tall enough to where my tractor rollover protection can fit in there. But I'm thinking about building a road right up here and around, right where this fence is going. Build me a roof off the back side of this. Coming out 5 feet, well, about 10 feet, sorry. That's why I built this wall extra tall. Put me another flat spot in right here. Make it level there. And then just build a couple steps up. As you can tell, I'm at chest level. The phone's at chest level right now. So there's eye level. But anyway, and I was standing on top of the tie. So if we bring it, level us out a spot here, I can drive up in here, offload my hay. I could even park in there because that's 20 foot long. I could park a tractor or park my truck in there. I could park a truck or something in here. And maybe someday what I'll do if I need more space, is come back here, build me a shed off this side into this flat area. I thought about doing that for like four-wheeler and tool storage. But see, I thought about putting my tractor in here at first. My tractor, four-wheeler in here, using this side for the goats and using this for hay. But really, it'd make more sense to put a tractor or your equipment storage here, down here, putting your animals and putting your hay up here. It would make more sense, but I don't know what I'm going to do yet. All I know is it took me 2 days to build this retaining wall, and that includes going and getting them, and we had to hand dig out the bottom of this. So he hand dug it out, took it wheelbarrows up here, dropped them off here, and then shoveled them down in there once we got our retaining wall built. But anyway, the whole reason for this barn is to work smarter, not harder. And I'm working pretty hard on it now. So far, it's taken me 2 days to build a retaining wall, to put up these posts and all that, and to get the posts. Probably took a week. To put up the floor and the roof, it took me another week. And again, I'm working largely by myself, but every now and then Xavier will help, or my wife will help, or, you know, little women and children and a little bit of help. But that's about it. But it's been pretty good. Got this thing going. I'd like to finish it up this year, get some sides on it at least, and maybe get that back addition built onto it. But yeah, I'd like to get that done this year and have a nice finished product here, so we don't have to worry about winds and rain coming in and ruining the structure I've already built. But anyway, that's a good design for a barn if you have a little bit of hillside property, and this is steep hillside property. See, I built a flat spot way up there on top of the hill, and I was going to put my barn up there, and it'd be easier to build up there. Problem is it's a real steep driveway that goes up around the backside. And there's a real steep portion of it, and you can't get up in the wintertime with four-wheel drive or anything. So down here, I'm right next to the road. Now, you know, I don't like everybody seeing my business right up against the road and all that, but at some point, you know, you've got to have some level of convenience too. And I'm all about prepping and all that stuff and keeping people out of my business, but you got to make it easy too. You got to make your life a little easier, and the whole purpose of this barn is to make my life easier. So you don't want to be 60, 70 years old having to go all the way up there in that hill, climbing that hill in the snow time, to take a square bale out from under a tarp to then throw it down in here in the goat pen. I did it last year, all year. As you can tell, this year I'm using my loft a little bit, but I've got another barn over where we cut the hay, and I've got all the hay stored there, and I'll bring about 20 bales over here at a time, stack them up there, and as you can tell, I've been just dragging them up the ladder, so I got to fix that issue. But someday life will be easier, maybe, hopefully. But anyway, I just wanted to give you a couple ideas about what you could do to make your life easier with a barn, especially if you've got this mountainside like what I've got now. And that doesn't really do it good justice. That does better. But you can see it's a steep pasture. It's just steep. It's actually, I mean, it's like this. And then when you get closer to the top, like right there, up, it gets real steep. And then it gets flat in behind that. But, I mean, this is just, I was mowing this with a riding mower, and my grandfather mowed it with a riding mower for years and years and years. I mean, ever since I can remember, before I did it. And That's why I fenced it in and put goats on it. I don't want to deal with it. So anyway, some ideas. Have a good one.